He said, go to this brook. You're going to drink thereof. I've commanded ravens to feed you there. Did you know that ravens are scavengers? And they're halfway blind anyway. So if God is going to send your lunch by a bird that by nature wants to eat it anyway, and it's half blind where to drop it, somebody better be there. I'm not talking about you, preacher, but it'd almost be funny if I did, wouldn't it? He said, I'm going to feed you there. Now, let's just put this in today's terms. God said, I'm going to feed you right here, there. This is your there. Yes. But you come here, and you don't like the music, and the service went too long, and no one shook your hand, and you got upset because the parking place you usually park in, somebody parked in it because you were 5 minutes late going through the drive-thru. And you get here, and you get upset, and then you have a Sunday where you don't really just feel welcome, so you get up and leave here and try to go to another there. But God said, I'm going to feed you where? Right? So what happens if you leave and go somewhere else? God's still feeding you here, even though you're over there. Then you get there, and then you want to backslide on God and say, where are you? When all the while He's trying to say, I never told you to go there. I told you to come here. I know it's so deep, but don't lose it. God said, I will feed you there. If you're not being fed here, it could be a sign God's sending you somewhere else. It's not that we want to lose you, but the important thing is to find the place of favor for you. Yes. And I believe that you are here for a reason, because I believe this is your there. I believe God is here to feed you. If you're getting fed, it's a sure sign you're in the place of favor for your life. What happened? It said a famine came in the land. It said that there was no rain, so what happened? The brook he was by dried up, because this is another thing. If you say that God's going to do it, you've got to believe He's going to do it, then don't get mad when He does it. I get weary, Bishop, when I hear all these prophetic people that's always talking about God is going to do, and God, and I see this, and I see that, and then when it happens, they are blindsided. But I want to say, didn't you see it? But that just eliminates half the prophetic mantles, because a whole lot of people can say it's coming, but many people don't understand when it is. So that's just a side note, side journey. I guess it's a pet peeve of mine. But I find it amazing, because here this man understood God's favor was on a place, and what God spoke to him really did happen. So if there's no rain, what happens? The brook dries up, right? So watch this. The favor switched off that place, and God said it like this in 1 Kings 17:7. It says it like this. And it came to pass after a while that the brook dried up, because there had been no rain in the land. Wow, isn't that deep? Verse 8. And the word of the Lord came unto him, saying, Arise, get thee to Zarephath, which belongeth to Zidon, and dwell where? Behold, I've commanded a widow woman where? To sustain thee. Now this is where people miss it many times, because the favor switched places. It switched places. Why? Because it's easy to get hooked on a place. So God will switch how He does it, so that you don't get hooked on the place and get hooked on the God. History would tell us that there were many widows in the land. Why? Because there's a famine. There's many widows. So He had to not only know the geographical location, but the exact door to knock on. Somebody say there. If He would have showed up at the wrong widow's house, He would have taken her lunch, and him and her both would have died. So He had to know and have understanding where the right there was. Somebody say right there. Now point right here, because this is your place. Favor switched from getting at the river to getting at the widow's house, because favor switches. We have to understand the favor of God for our life. If we recap what happens, favor of God comes on a person. It came on Joseph's life. It comes on pathways. God will predestine the course of your life and plant it here. But anytime you think that it's just on you for who you are, or that it's on the path that you're currently on, let me just put it this way. If you seek success and not obedience, you'll keep trying to continue the path even after God has switched to another path, and you'll continue on and not get any results, because success success was never meant to be a satisfier. It's meant just to get you to a place of significance. We go from struggle to success to significance. And God places success in the middle to keep you from getting so weary in your doing that you give up through the process. So He allows you to taste just a little bit of success, but inevitably God said there's a place in my favor called significance, where your life makes such a difference that no one else in the world could ever fulfill what I've called you to fulfill. It's called my plan for your life, because I know the beginning from the end. So He said, after you get to the place that you think it's you, I'll switch it. Once you continue in my path and you feel have found success, I'll switch it. Why? Because there's a place I want you to get to called significance, and you'll only get there if you can hearken into my words and follow me. And once you've got on the path and got off the path and realized that sometimes there is no path, it's just on a place called there. I'm going to test you to see if you can stay there even if you don't like it, even if it's not the food that you like, even if you don't like the leftovers that I'm bringing, whatever, if you don't like it there, the test is to see if you can stay there. Somebody say in the favor. The test is to see if you can stay in God's favor. I don't know about you, but I've been in ministry for a little while anyway. Preaching since I was about 11. Went into full-time ministry when I was 15. I'm coming up on 10 years of full-time ministry, working it as a profession. I spent about a year off in the Department of Corrections. I had to pay some bills sometime through the process. And I found the biggest test for me is when other doors open that look much more appealing, can I stay in my favor? Or will I be tempted to leave the place that God said they're at? Because many times the grass is greener on the other side. So the test for you, just like it is for anybody, is the choice that you have to make is, are you going to choose to stay in God's favor, or are you going to pursue what looks like a quick fix to get you to the end result of where God's called you to be? I've taken some of those short roads, and I promise they are short-lived. And usually what you think is happening on the other end doesn't come through and falls short of the glory of God, Romans 3:23. So the question is for us as a church, practically speaking, can we stay in God's favor? Remember what favor was. It's benefits from God. Special benefits from God. Why do we need favor for our church? Let me just put it like this. Got a phone call. I've talked about it a little bit Sunday. Senator Philip Puckett's wife called, asked to meet with me. Have no clue how she even found out about us. I sat halfway through the meeting, not even knowing I was sitting in front of a senator's wife. What happened? Special benefits. She said she found out about our vision, that we wanted to help people and have some type of education program, that we wanted to do something to make a difference and reach into our community. Guess what? This is the only state-funded program in the entire state, and it came to this region, and it's absolutely free. And we're the first person on the docket that they contacted and said, if you'd get involved and help us out get this pilot program started, what we want to do is we want to be a blessing back to you and give you some special benefits and come and do some things for you. And did you know that there's grants and there's all types of different things that are available according to the programs and the guidelines of the things that you want to do, and we can help you do that. It's called special benefits. You don't believe me? It's called God's approval. He said whatever we'd put our hands to would prosper and be blessed. Made one announcement, had 2 people sign up for it immediately. That's called God's approval. We take it full circle. What does it mean? Divine empowerment. God spoke to somebody's heart, not just mine, but even our leadership, and said, this is a good idea. We need to continue in it. And God said, because the divine empowerment, like Joseph, enabled him to see beyond his current state as he was in prison and still interpret dreams, and because he wasn't discriminatory according to his gifting, and he said, I'll use my gift anywhere, even if it is Southwest Virginia. I don't have to be on TV everywhere. I don't have to have people to affirm me. I'll use my divine empowerment wherever I am, and because of that, it brought God's favor. One example of many. And I expect the favor of God to come on your life because I believe the favor of God is on this house. I really do. What we're doing on November 21st, that's some favor. A church that entertains 20 to 25,000 people every weekend, that does things very successfully. It's on several different huge television networks and has huge outreaches and does 12 main outreaches a year. 150 ministries came and said, listen, I want you to come to our church and we want to open everything up. You can meet the 217 pastors we have that keep everything working. And any questions you have, we want to answer that. And through the process, here's all of our resources. Anything we can do for you, we want to be a blessing. It's called favor. It's called favor. And next week, I'm going to meet with a pastor that's going to help us do all of that. I believe he's going to help us, and from a practical standpoint, get us to the next level, because I believe that through the process, it's a great thing to have dreams and visions, but I'm burnt out on people that just want to pray for vision. I've got enough vision. I need some provision. I just mean that. I really do. I don't want anybody to lay hands and speak more vision because I got more vision coming out of my ears I'm tired of seeing right now. I just need some provision. But the thing about vision is there has to come through a stage of planning. God said He would bless our plans. He said to write the vision and make it plain so that those that read it could run thereby. Habakkuk 2:2. In other words, God expects when you have vision that He will bring people that want to fulfill that for you to come across your path. So He said, make it plain.